All right, let's jump right in. OpenAI is making this massive push into science. And yeah, it's all over the news. But what's really interesting isn't just the news itself. It's how the story is being told. I mean, depending on where you are in the world, you're getting a completely different narrative. Same set of facts, but two totally different stories.
Yeah, so the big question seems to be, what's the real angle here? Is this just a straightforward business play to get ahead of Google? Or is it something bigger? And that's where everyone's getting it a little bit wrong. They're looking at it as an either-or question. Is it A or is it B? The real game here isn't one or the other. It's how one is being used as the perfect cover for the other. And that's what we're going to dig into.
Okay, so just look at the headlines. In the Western tech press, you see things like this from ZDNet. OpenAI is hiring AI-pilled academics. It's all about talent acquisition, building a product, very Silicon Valley. But then you look at the strategic analysis coming from the East, and the language is just worlds apart. They're talking about a grand strategic layout and autonomous research. They're not seeing a better gadget. They're seeing the birth of a new strategic capability. The perception gap is huge.
So let's dive into that first lens, the Western view. This is the story that's being sold as a straightforward corporate strategy.
And, OpenAI's public messaging lines up perfectly with this. You've got Kevin Weil, the VP, leading this, saying they're building the next great scientific instrument to accelerate discovery. I mean, it's brilliant messaging. It's so clean, so noble. Who's going to push back against accelerating discovery for humanity? It's the perfect public-facing narrative.
Right, and all the details they're releasing seem to fit that story. It's run by Kevin Weil, who is their chief product officer. His mission? Go out and get the smartest, most AI-pilled academics he can find. It's straight out of the Silicon Valley playbook, Chapter 1. You get a star product leader, you tell them to hire the best brains on the planet, and you tell the world you're building the next big thing. We've all heard this one before.
And of course, to sell that story, you need some impressive numbers. And boy, do they have them. Look at this benchmark on PhD-level science questions. GPT-4o was at about 70%. The new GPT-5 Pro, it jumps to almost 90%. That's a staggering leap. And this is such a critical piece of the public relations strategy. You turn it into a numbers game. It's a horse race. Are we better than them? Look at the chart. It keeps the conversation exactly where you want it, on product performance and away from anything more complicated.
And that's the whole point right there. This focus on benchmarks, on the horse race. This is the story they want you to follow. It's a simple, clean narrative about product superiority. It feels familiar, it's easy to understand, and it's a fantastic distraction from what's actually going on.
And in this particular horse race, the main competitor is without a doubt Google's DeepMind. For years, you had this split. OpenAI owned the consumer-facing stuff, like ChatGPT, while DeepMind was the undisputed champ of specialized science AI with things like AlphaFold. Well, this is OpenAI stepping directly onto DeepMind's turf.
Okay, so that's the story you're getting in the West, a simple corporate rivalry. But now we're going to completely change lenses. Yeah, because from the other side of the world, this doesn't look like a business move at all. They see this as a carefully orchestrated play for national power.
And to understand their view, you have to start with this key concept, digital research partner. Now, that might sound like just a fancy term, but the word partner is everything. We in the West tend to think of AI as a tool, like a better calculator or microscope. They're seeing it as a collaborator, a peer, something that can actually participate in and even lead scientific discovery. It's a fundamentally different way of thinking.
So, keeping that partner concept in mind, let's look at this timeline of events again. In July 2024, they partner with Los Alamos. September 2025, Kevin Weil gets the job. December 2025, they signed an official deal with the U.S. Department of Energy. And by January 2026, their models are running on a supercomputer at Los Alamos for national security work. And this is where the two narratives just completely diverge. In the West, most people saw 4 different announcements over several months. From a strategic perspective in the East, this is seen as one continuous, deliberate action. It's the step-by-step integration of a commercial product into the very core of America's national security infrastructure. These are not random events. It's a clear path.
Let's just double-click on that DOE partnership for a second. The who? The U.S. Department of Energy and OpenAI. The what? Working on their Genesis mission. But the where? The where is what matters. We're talking supercomputers at Los Alamos, Lawrence Livermore, and Sandia. And let's be crystal clear about what those places are. They are not just any government labs. They are the National Nuclear Security Administration labs. This is the heart of the U.S. nuclear program. The moment you plug your AI into that system, you are no longer just building a cool science tool for grad students.
All right, so let's put it all together. We have one set of facts and two radically different interpretations. This is the synthesis. This is where we see how the same reality can be spun in completely different directions.
Okay, let's just lay it out side by side. Shared fact. Kevin Weil is leading the team. The Western spin is he's a product guy chasing a new project. Right? But the Eastern view is that this is a calculated choice. They picked a guy with a physics background specifically to talk to the national security crowd. Okay, next fact. The partnership with the Department of Energy. The Western story frames it as a simple public-private collaboration to get access to good data, while the Eastern analysis sees it as OpenAI becoming deeply embedded within the state's security apparatus. Not a partner, but an extension of state power. And finally, GPT-5's scientific abilities. To the West, it's a new feature, a competitive edge to beat Google. And to the East, it's the forging of a strategic national asset designed to secure American leadership in science for the next generation. It's the same reality, just viewed through a completely different strategic lens.
So, after all this, what's the real story? What's the actual alpha here? The key insight isn't to pick a side and say the West is right or the East is right.
The truth, the real genius of this strategy, is that both narratives are true at the same time. They are using the simple, public-facing story of a corporate horse race as the perfect cover to build what is, for all intents and purposes, a critical piece of national infrastructure. It's an absolutely brilliant playbook for transforming a popular consumer app into a strategic national asset.
So when you break it down, the strategy is actually a four-step process. First, you rebrand your chatbot as a profound scientific instrument. Second, you embed that instrument directly into sensitive government and military projects. Third, you hire all the top experts so no one else can compete. And finally, you wrap the entire operation in this beautiful, noble mission about helping humanity. Exactly. The business goals and the national security goals aren't in conflict. They actually reinforce each other. One provides the funding and the talent, the other provides the strategic importance and access.
And all of this leads to the one final, really important question. As AI evolves from a simple tool into the actual engine of scientific discovery itself, who is in the driver's seat? Who decides what problems we solve, what discoveries get made, and ultimately, who benefits from them? That's the real gambit here.